Welcome to this edition of When the Biomass Hits the Wind Turbine, a discussion of sustainable living and what that means to you and me. I'm Jay Warmke.
And I'm Annie Warmke.
And today we're going to talk about making your farm or homestead a nonprofit business, or how not to make money on purpose. So we're going to be joined today by Claire Orner. And Claire is co-owner of Quiet Creek Herb Farm and School of Country Living, located in Brookville, Pennsylvania. How you doing, Claire?
Great. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Annie.
All right.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing.
Okay.
It's not, I put not for profit because I thought it would sound like a joke if I said nonprofit, because those of us who are farmers know there is no profit. So not for profit.
Pretty much every farm is a nonprofit. So.
That's right.
Okay. So, Claire, again, welcome. And why don't you tell us just a little bit about Quiet Creek?
Sure, Jay. And I am glad to share this with everyone. And any questions anyone has down the road, know that our mantra is there are no secrets at Quiet Creek, so ask away. Basically, we're a 30-acre farm in northwestern Pennsylvania. So we focus on education as our key mission. A mission to help people live healthful, sustainable lives, a mission to teach people to think ecologically, and a mission to help save natural resources. So we have plenty to share in the generations to come.
And how did you get started? I mean, located there. I've been there. It's beautiful. So,
But did you actually start as a business, or you just started because you wanted to be a farmer?
Oh, really good questions. Okay, we'll start with your question, Annie. We started as a for-profit farm, not knowing that non-profits or not-for-profits would be the better route to take. When Rusty and I moved back here, this is where we both grew up. I was in Seattle, Washington as a graduate student in science education, and Rusty, my husband, was a landscape gardener in Wickford, Rhode Island. So the last year of my grad program, we married, so we were both on the Pacific Northwest coast. We had a chance to buy this farm. His folks are about 30 miles away, and I have two sisters out of my four sisters that live just over the hill from this farm. So we had a chance to purchase it, and I began a school teacher, science teacher, and Rusty started a landscape business. And we were starting our business with that in mind so we could build community. I know as an educator, people want to know that you're an educator and so on and so forth. And then Rusty started building clientele with his gardening landscape business. But I retired to the farm probably 5 years into our for-profit business. And then shortly after that, we wrote the regs, or, met all the qualifications with the IRS and became incorporated as a not-for-profit.
Okay, it sounds a bit windy there, so we'll let you get into shelter. So
there's a lot of static at different times.
Okay,
that sounds great. I gladly will do that.
So what are some of the advantages? Because obviously you say you started out as a for-profit, but then you transitioned to a not-for-profit. What was really the primary motivation for doing that?
Yeah, the real motivation was to be able to write grants, to be able to bring as many pre-kindergarten to adults to Quiet Creek to let them enjoy the farm. And there's many foundations and federal and state agencies that want to meet the mission that Quiet Creek has, and they have tax dollars available to educate, and the foundations have corporate profits available. And so once you become a not-for-profit, you can write grants to seek that funding so their mission is met, Quiet Creek's mission is met. So that was our real intent. We wanted to try to educate as many people as possible, but we found many school districts, pre-kindergarten organizations, they just may not have the funding to put out to make a field experience or to come on a regular basis. We've been doing a lot of that where the kids come weekly or we go into their classroom weekly.
Do you find that with the not-for-profit status, I always used to say there was like the white hat kind of thing. You're suddenly like a good guy, because you're considered nonprofit.
Yeah, I think a lot of people view us that way, Jay. I think you truly are a public servant. I put it in the same category as like a mail person or a teacher or, working for the post office. We're not federal or state workers or county workers, but we are working for the general population to improve a certain topic, and in our case, become more sustainable.
So right from the start, you were thinking about this. It's a farm, but it was more of an educational activity. Is that really how you viewed it right from the start?
Yeah, we really did. We started having classes and free festivals right off the bat. I think I was in my first year of teaching, and I had a group of 7th graders, and we opened it up for them to come out with their families and then opened it up to the Brookville community, the closest little town that we serve. And so right off the bat, so this all started in 1996, but we became official status as a 501c3 in 2003.
Okay, so it was a long process then.
Yeah, kind of, where to go. It was a fun opportunity because in my family we give homemade gifts in our extended family, and my brother is a certified public accountant, and his homemade gift for me was to help me write the necessary documents for the IRS to become a not-for-profit. So very nice gift.
So one of the things that Jay had asked also was, what do you think are some of the disadvantages? Because I was thinking about the fact that, so you have this not-for-profit and you're working hard, and it's a beautiful place. I have been there to visit and really think the world of what you're doing. But I'm thinking, all right, at some point you might get tired of doing that, or you might be into a place where you need to retire, or maybe there's some health issues. How does that work, that transition? And would that fall into disadvantages or advantages?
Oh, good question, and thanks for the kind words too, Annie. Yes, I would say the disadvantage would be, as any teaching component, you are high speed. Like today, 180 fifth graders just, went out the door, jumped on 4 school buses and headed about 50 miles east of here. High intensity, we had threat of thunderstorms, but it was a beautiful day. And with 7 learning stations, the kids learned everything from worm composting to making fruit and vegetable smoothies and so on. So the disadvantage is, it's high energy, it's a lot of effort to organize and to make things happen. But if any of us in our audience have taught before, it's kind of like parenting. It can be some of the most grueling years of our life, but it can also be some of the most rewarding years of our lives. So I would say definitely lots and lots of work, but any type of farming, if we're farming goats or sheep, in this case, we're educating human beings, Homo sapiens. So it's a little bit different, but still it takes a lot of effort, and it's a passion. And to get into something like this, you really want to be committed. Another disadvantage may be, as a not-for-profit, you are governed by a board of directors, and those people sit on your board. They advise you. They may take on certain roles. Maybe they help you with marketing. Maybe they help you with IT. Maybe they help you with payroll. But they need to be chosen carefully and selectively in the sense that you want them to definitely be your cheerleaders and not cause animosity. I've never in my 24 years of work here at Quiet Creek, I've had wonderful, supportive board members, but you always hear through the grapevine that sometimes you have a board that is not supportive, and they can be extremely critical and cause you setbacks.
Or
as
fire
you're trying
you.
to move forward.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or fire you.
Or fire you.
I've been fired
Yeah.
by board,
Yeah.
not-for-profit boards before, believe me.
Well,
Yes.
they were just doing their job, Annie.
Oh, yeah, kicking me to the curb.
Yeah, so you're right, Annie. A lot of people shy away from that.
Yeah.
And being such a community builder myself, I find my board energizes me and gives me good ideas and just really helps me along the way. I don't feel any imposition. I feel I'm autonomous to make decisions and bring it to the board, and they give their stamp of approval. So it's worked well at Quiet Creek. It takes some grooming. We really try to give our board a lot of status and offer them wonderful farm-to-table meals whenever we have a meeting to make it really enjoyable.
So you're bribing them with food, huh?
Yes, we are honoring them with what the farm is all about, the farm school is all about. So it is a nice reciprocation.
Well, in terms of nonprofit board status, I'm wondering, do they create the budget, and do they raise money and also make their own financial contribution commitment?
I think some boards do, Annie. At Quiet Creek, they do not. It's a pretty passive position. We do all the fundraising. We, take care of writing the grants. We keep the infrastructure maintained. They have to meet with us 4 times a year. The fourth meeting is only an email meeting. The other 3 are face-to-face. So it's not a lot on their part, and it gives us just kind of a stamp of approval every quarter to hear from them.
Right, that way then you don't have to worry about getting kicked to the curb for sure.
So I know some... Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, what are some of the issues around down the road as far as retirement? How does that transition happen? Because you don't really own the corporation. The board owns it. So.
Right, and we're right there at that transition point. So I'm glad you brought that up. Just last week, a young couple, Robert and Jesse Orth, with their son William, returned to the farm. They had been apprentices in 2011-12, and they returned to the farm to become the new stewards of Quiet Creek. And so Rusty and I will mentor them for the next 6 months, and then we will transition out. We'll still be on the board of directors, but Robbie and Jess will take on the leadership roles there, and they will begin maintaining and meeting the mission of the farm.
Then where are you going? Oh, wait, Jay's giving me the high sign.
No, not yet. No, not.
Okay.
I'm listening. I was just in my mind thinking, old farmers never die; they just go to seed. I just thought that was cute.
Yeah, that's a good one, Jess.
Yeah. So what's going to happen then for you? Where are you going?
Yeah, we're have a list of areas that we feel our gifts can be needed if we return to Ghana and help that youth group that we met with in 2018, help them grow more different types of mushrooms, or if we return to Guatemala and help the dragon fruit farm, start an herbal soap business. We're looking at different places across the world that we as U.S. citizens, and I'm speaking for myself, my generation, we've really done some damage in certain areas. So Rusty and I are looking at building relationships in some of these geographic communities that could use some extra help. And so we haven't decided exactly where that's going to be. We're hoping Vision 2020 occurs the 1st of January. So during this process, we'll be looking at opportunities of how we can serve others somewhere across the world.
Okay, well, I'm going to interrupt you there and say that you are listening to When the Biomass Hits the Wind Turbine with Jay and Annie Warmke, reminding you, as we do all the time, Annie, it is the end of the world as we know it.
And thank God.
And thank God. And today we're speaking with Claire Orner, and she is co-owner, along with her husband Rusty, of Quiet Creek Herb Farm and School of Country Living in Brookville, Pennsylvania. So, and we're talking about creating a not-for-profit entity around your farm or homestead. I know we've referred to your place as a farm, but I guess I would kind of, I don't know, it doesn't strike me as a traditional farm in any stretch of the imagination. I mean, you're not out planting corn and soybeans and
yeah, but that's a misnomer. That's a misnomer. I mean, lots of us are farmers, and we aren't growing soybeans and wheat. And
so
corn.
tell us a little bit about your crops.
Sure.
I mean, you do a lot of education, but I know you grow things as well.
Yeah. So to educate our school groups and beyond, we have display gardens with all types of edible flowers and culinary herbs, medicinal herbs. We have a mushroom farm with shiitake, namiko, lion's mane, reishi, maitake. So all aspects of the farm can be a part of the curriculum. My son led the fifth graders today on a nature trail, and they planted trees. The Game Commission here in Pennsylvania wants to get all different kinds of trees out there as feeder plants for the wildlife. So the kids, how better to mitigate climate change than to be out planting trees and really enjoying the outdoors. So we also have 2 high tunnels where we grow a lot of hot weather herbs, basil, lemongrass, lemon verbena, our peppers, both sweet and hot, all kinds of tomatoes. And then all those vegetables or herbs or edible flowers, they're then brought back into the farm setting as value-added products that are available in our shop or as meals. So often any of our classes, people come and then they have a farm-to-table luncheon or dinner. Maybe part of the curriculum is to create it, or maybe they go out in the woods and they harvest wild edible mushrooms and different plants, and then they bring it back, and I prepare it while they go out and learn more. So those are some of the so-called crops, both foraging, wildcrafting, and then cultivated in display gardens and high tunnels.
And you've also integrated some other interesting aspects of sustainable living. I know you have a straw bale addition to your barn that's nice. You've got a solar array, a wind turbine. I think it's pretty cool, the beehive in the wall of the shop that you have. And
well, maybe you could talk a little bit about that kind of a partnership, because you're talking about doing these different projects, but the solar array was a project that we worked on together and had a kind of a partnership, and maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Oh, yes, to find you two, Jay and Annie, at PASA, I'm going to say maybe 4 to 5 years ago. You both were there as speakers with the Pennsylvania Association for Sustainable Ag, and we were just so excited to see what you were doing. And then knowing that you are true educators in so many areas, and renewable energy, solar arrays are one of your specialties. So I think we had a connection, and Annie, you reached out to us, and we were thrilled to be able to host Jay here for, is it 2 or 3 workshops now?
Yeah, I think we've had 3 so far.
Yeah, and we have another one planned this summer. We're so excited, middle of July. And so your 5-day workshop really gives people the inside information. You make it enjoyable. It's just amazing. And people walk away with their certification. They can be employed, or in our case, as farm owners, homeowners, be able to do an installation with the knowledge that you've given us, your students. Yeah, so we're so excited. And unbelievable, the cost has come down tremendously. Jay, you're going to have to really crunch some numbers for me, but sure. I'll just make a comparison. We, myself and one of my interns, we wrote an energy harvest grant, and we were able to get the funds to put in a small turbine, 2.5 kilowatt capacity, and 2 small arrays, 2.6 kilowatt capacity.
And that cost was high priced. And what I want to share with you is what, Jay, you helped us put in. It was about a 4.2 kilowatt solar array. That cost was about a third of the cost that we used as funding from the Energy Harvest Grant, and that was in 2009. So, Jay, are you seeing things just drop every year?
Oh yeah. We put in
infrastructure cost. Yeah,
we put in a 3.75 kW array at our farm in 2014, and just the cost of materials was around $12,000. And in 2018, 2019, now we're able to get the same material for in the $4,000 to $5,000 range. So the prices are dramatically lower. Although I'll tell a quick little cute story. I know after we installed the solar array there at your place, and I was staying in your little straw bale cabin, and that evening we had gotten everything hooked together, and I think you were gone, and Rusty was still there. And it was after dark, and all of a sudden, all the electricity went off. and I thought, what did we do wrong? You know, so I walked outside.
It was probably our power company.
It was, but Rusty was out on the driveway. I was on the driveway, and he's looking at me going, what did you do? Then fortunately, all your neighbors had no power either, so we were very
You were
very
on
pleased.
the phone with me, and you said, "Oh my God, the electricity just went out. What did I do wrong?"
Annie, I'm so proud of Jay.
Oh yeah,
He makes a project happen, and
he's funny.
Till the end. I mean, you talk about someone dedicated to his work. Anyway.
Well, let me say
Yes.
that one of the things, since we're talking about not-for-profit, is that, and we are not a not-for-profit, although sometimes it might be not-for-profit.
We're non-profitable.
Yeah.
But,
No, that's not true. But what I was going to say is our business model, which works really well with yours, because what we did with the solar project was to say, all right, you're going to work with us. We're going to teach this class, but you're going to help us, and you're going to market the class, and you're going to host people and give us a workspace to teach the class. And then we shared a portion of the revenue from the registration. So that, to me, is a different model than how most people are working. It's different in that we were able to work with you, and we had the leeway to do it, but also in return, you worked with us as a for-profit. And it wasn't a grant or anything like that. And I think that's valuable for people in the future to be thinking about in any kind of business setting or not-for-profit. Is there are businesses out there like us who really want to have these kind of partnerships with groups who are really trying to look at sustainability and how to get the word out about living differently. And that just is a great partnership.
Oh, absolutely. And if there are any businesses out there listening, take this opportunity and run with it, because Jay and Annie are true professionals. They make things happen. Knowledgeable. I can't say enough about what you two can do to help.
We're really funny. That's the
Yeah, that's what everybody says at the end of the week.
the checks in the mail, Claire. Will be,
we'll be paying.
thanks
you.
for the
Jay.
advertisement.
You are amazing.
Yeah, well.
You are amazing. My son and my husband are not math savvy, you know. I mean, they're both very creative men. I mean, they have so many gifts. But Jay helped them go through the math. I mean, Jay, I don't know if you were a math teacher at one time, but you made it all so understandable to them. They both swear by it, and then I know
it's because I just make stuff up, you know. It's like we never
they
let the
have to pass
facts.
the test.
That's right. Although I do remember when they put the extension on the array, I was there, and they couldn't get the computer and the array to talk to each other. And I don't know who finally got the idea to call up the company, who then were able to completely fix it, because they're like, oh, we can see what you're doing.
Asking directions.
Yeah,
That's always
asking
tough.
for directions. That's what we kept saying, Claire, was, guys, you need to ask for directions. And
It happened, yeah.
they're like, go away and eat your lunch.
Well, I was going to ask you too,
right.
Claire. You're talking about working with the board of directors, but you also work with a lot of volunteers and interns. You called some people apprentices. I don't know if that's your term for interns or if that's a different
it's
thing.
interchangeable, sure. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So what kind of challenges, what kind of rewards have you seen in all of that?
Yeah, it's always been very rewarding. Our apprentices become part of our family, and I know you have the same situation at your farm in Ohio. You know, people come back, they want to find out what's going on, they want to continue to volunteer, or they stay in touch, you know, and they start other farms, and they just share their successes with you. So, you know, working with humans, we all know we all have our challenges. So
working with humans, there's the
simple.
challenge. There's the challenge, Claire. All those humans.
Yeah.
All those humans, yes, as we know. So I know I can be quirky and hard to work with sometimes, just like anyone else. So working through human dynamics, personal relationships can be challenging. The nice thing is we don't do any money exchange, and so it's room and board and any education along the way. So it's a nice model that I like. It may not be for everyone, but I'm really happy with it. Yeah. But with our new stewards, they're compensated. Rusty and I will step out, and they will step in, and they will have a payroll.
I wanted to tell you that this is the same model that we have, and we really believe in it because, as far as the interns and stuff, because we're investing in young people. And the reality is when people go to college or university, the university or college doesn't apologize for charging tuition. And so the fact that, you know, you're working for food and labor and education, it makes complete sense.
There's ownership built in.
Yeah,
isn't there?
yeah.
Yes, Annie.
And I just did a webinar with a national group where we talked about internships, and they sent in their questions ahead of time, and every question was about compensation and liability. And I said, look, this isn't the webinar for that. We're going to talk about how you actually run a really great internship program where they're not your slaves. And so I didn't.
They are family, yes.
That's right, that it's really about education and sharing and partnership and everything. So anyway, so we're coming to the close, and I wanted to ask you, what's the best advice you ever received?
Oh, wow.
And let's make this around farming.
Yeah.
We're going to limit ourselves here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think I can sum it up around farming. My best advice that I'll pass forward, take time off every week for yourself, your partner, your family, your friends, and really give yourself some downtime.
Okay,
together.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right,
I'd say
thanks,
that
Claire.
was my best advice.
Okay, great. All right, well, you've been listening to When the Biomass Hits the Wind Turbine with Jay and Annie Warmke and Claire Orner today. We want to thank Adam Rich, our producer, and thank you for spending just a little bit of time with us. And your grandmother hopefully probably told you, Annie, the secret to a happy and sustainable life is...
Play nice with others, clean up your own mess, and Jay, eat your vegetables.
All right, I will. Thank you.
Mother Earth will sing, and her children will be healed. Come out, see the morning glory, blossom in the night. Know the stars are dancing in twilight. Soon we'll be together, all will be revealed. Mother Earth will sing, and her children will be healed.
You can find more information on living sustainably in our unsustainable world at bluerockstation.com.